Now at 5, crews in Neosho, Missouri demolish a 98-year-old water tower. Plus, Joplin police officers teach elementary students a lesson on law enforcement. And
the House will vote on holding Attorney General Merrick Garland in contempt of Congress. I'm Skyler Henry on Capitol Hill with the latest. As GOP lawmakers say he defied subpoena requests related to President Biden's handling of classified documents.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
A nearly century-old structure in Neosho, Missouri is now in pieces. This is KOAM News at 5. I'm Dow Quick. The city today began the demolition of the water tower at Dewey and Finney Avenue. The tower was built in 1926 and decommissioned back in 1984. The city added another larger tank next to it in 1956. City officials now say that old tank, it was an eyesore and served no purpose, prompting the demolition.
It's just it's about 110 years old, and it's just a concern for as a danger structure for the area.
Because I wanted to come see the water tower getting taken down. I've never seen this happen.
The current remaining water tower, built in 1956, it has a 400,000-gallon tank. The Joplin Police Department is putting on a police camp for kids at South Middle School. The entire week is filled with information about the department and demonstrations performed by the officers. Today, students got to engage with the department's SWAT division. They could get inside the SWAT armored vehicle and interact with some of the equipment used by the SWAT team.
Well, just this week, the Kids Academy, them being able to get to see like all the different things that the Joplin Police Department has to offer between K-9 Division, Traffic Enforcement, our SWAT team, Investigations Division. So it's just nice for them to be able to see all the different things that the Joplin Police Department has to offer.
It helps you figure out more about it, and it lets you know that they're good people and they'll always help.
The Kids Police Academy will continue for the rest of the week. A Joplin soup kitchen is seeking donations to feed its growing number of clientele. The soup kitchen volunteers at St. Peter's Outreach House start prepping meals at 8 a.m. to pass out hundreds of to-go meals by 11. However, as the demand grows, it's harder to keep their shelves stocked.
We are in desperate need of canned goods. We go through approximately 15 gallons of canned goods a day. So if there's anyone in the community or anybody wants to make a donation of canned goods to us, we'll take anything. Canned vegetables, canned fruit, canned beans.
St. Peter's Outreach House is open Monday through Wednesday and Friday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. KOAM and Fox 14 are starting a summer food drive as part of our Feed the 4 States campaign. This is how you can help. Local food pantries have struggled since COVID, so any size donation really does make a difference. As part of our summer food drive, we ask that you bring donations to your local food pantry, either in the form of cash or non-perishable food items like canned goods. You can find a list of food pantries in the area on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com/feed. Let's check in with meteorologist Lindsay Gaffney now for a first look at the weather.
Well, it's a pretty warm day again today. Mostly sunny. Temperatures got up to about 88 for our high, but now we're starting to dip down. 86 now across the area, and as well across the area we're getting up to 88 in Nowata, 90 in Neodesha, 80-78 Center, so a little bit warmer out there. And in the next couple of days, we're going to continue to warm up. So we do have a heat advisory issued for Linn and Coffee counties, a couple of our very far northern counties, not really in our area, but still wanted to mention it, with the heat index getting nearly in the triple digits this weekend. And our actual temperature is going to be in the mid to lower 90s across the area. So it's going to stay pretty hot. We've got a couple chances of rain in the next couple of days as well. And I'll have more details for you in just a bit.
See you soon. A small flotilla of Russian Navy ships pulled into Havana Harbor in Cuba this morning as part of what U.S. officials say is Vladimir Putin's response to American support for Ukraine. The Russian ships are expected to remain in Havana for 5 days and then get underway again. The U.S. officials say when the Russian ships set back out to sea, the Navy will be waiting to resume shadowing them. House Republicans are pressing forward with their plan to hold Attorney General Merrick Garland in contempt of Congress. It stems from his refusal to hand over audio recordings of President Biden's interview with a special prosecutor related to the president's handling of classified documents. Skylar Henry has the latest from Capitol Hill.
On this vote, the yeas are 216, the nays are 207. The resolution is adopted.
The House has voted to hold Attorney General Merrick Garland in contempt of Congress, making him the third AG in U.S. history to face the charge. The House GOP wants the audio recordings from President Biden's interviews with Special Counsel Robert Hur about his handling of classified documents when he left the vice presidency. The White House released a transcript of those conversations, but Biden asserted executive privilege to block House committees from obtaining the audio, saying Republicans only wanted the files for political purposes.
We know we're entitled to all the evidence, and that includes the best evidence, which is this audio tape.
The House vote will now go to the Justice Department as a referral. The Senate doesn't have to approve a resolution, and the DOJ will weigh whether to pursue a case.
We have to defend the Constitution. We have to defend the authority of Congress. We can't allow the Department of Justice, an executive branch agency, to hide information from Congress.
Democrats are accusing Republicans of only looking to make former President Donald Trump happy.
This is all just an effort to satisfy the former president who has asked them to do something, to do anything, to distract from his own legal issues.
Special Counsel Hur, a Republican U.S. attorney appointed by Trump, laid out a report in February describing his interviews with Biden as a, quote, well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory. But Hur determined that no criminal charges were warranted for Biden's handling of those documents. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Now, if the Justice Department decides to take up the contempt resolution and pursue a case, then Garland could face a fine of up to $100,000 and even potentially imprisonment. Still ahead, the spread of a mosquito-borne illness.
Dengue cases are hitting the U.S. I'm Cristian Benavides with how Miami-Dade County is mitigating the risk with mosquitoes.
Plus, what a new study shows about the effectiveness of weight loss surgery compared to other weight loss methods. Those stories next in Health Watch. Topping today's Health Watch, surgery is more effective than other weight loss methods. That's according to a new study by the American Society for Metabolic and Bariatric Surgery. Researchers found diet and exercise typically resulted in a 7% drop in weight, but most people regained the weight after 4 years. Medications like Ozempic resulted in 10 to 21% weight loss, but once treatment stopped, about half the lost weight returned within a year. Gastric bypass and sleeve gastrectomies led to around 30% weight loss, and 25% of that loss was maintained 10 years post-surgery. Dengue fever is a mosquito-borne illness that mostly occurs in the tropics, but new cases in the U.S. are causing some concern now. Cristian Benavides reports from Miami, where most U.S. cases are being reported.
Omar Sanchez and Yoel Gutierrez, co-owners of Mosquito Joe in Miami, say it's getting busy.
We check for standing water because that's where the main mosquito problem's coming from.
Now with the rain starting, we're definitely getting more calls.
This year, Latin America is experiencing its worst dengue fever outbreak ever, and the mosquito-borne illness is now detected in the U.S. Worldwide numbers show a troubling trend.
This year, there have been already over 7.6 million cases.
Dr. Eileen Marty is an infectious disease expert.
Dengue is also known as breakbone fever, and that's because you have this terrible bone pain. You can also have pain behind your eyes. You can have nausea.
Most people with dengue are asymptomatic, but some develop severe disease that can turn deadly.
This is highest risk for children.
The mosquito spreads the disease by biting someone who is infected, then biting and infecting someone else.
The CDC says the vast majority of U.S. cases are travel associated, but a small number of cases is acquired locally.
Miami-Dade County has the most cases in the country. John Paul Mutebi is the director of mosquito control.
You're using their products that knocks down the larval population in it.
They're currently spraying in areas where cases of dengue have been confirmed and studying mosquito populations to determine if they're carrying the virus. Critical work with summer just getting started. Cristian Benavides, CBS News, Miami.
Brazil is considered the epicenter of the dengue outbreak in the Americas, with more than 1 million cases already reported so far this year. The first week after a baby is born is critical for the development of the senses. Researchers at the University of Zurich found in mice, smell and touch are the first senses they develop. These senses not only help form connections in the brain, but also help newborns nurse and bond with their mother. Researchers believe if one of these two senses is defective, that could lead to various neurodevelopmental disorders. And that is a look at today's health news. A little bit later, one of the nation's busiest cargo ports reopens following a deadly bridge collapse.
And temperatures are starting to warm up. We've also got a few chances of rain in the forecast. We'll talk about that right after the break. It was another warm day out there and pretty sunny as well. We'll go ahead and take a look outside at Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Really great shot. We saw a couple of clouds, but overall it was a really sunny day out there and pretty warm as well. We got up to the mid to upper 80s in the area. Not to mention, we also have a heat advisory, not quite in our area, just outside for Lynn, Anderson, and Coffee counties. Like I said, just north of us and west of us. Wichita is under a heat advisory. That is from tomorrow about 1 p.m. to 8 p.m. So they're seeing those heat indexes in the mid 100 triple digits, so 103 to 105, maybe 108 as a max. We're not quite there yet. We are seeing possible heat indexes in the low triple digits, but for the most part, we're going to stay pretty cool at least throughout the next couple of weeks. But we are still getting into the mid to lower 90s for our actual temperatures. So heat-related illnesses are still possible, especially if you're out inside for prolonged periods of time, if you're not staying hydrated. Just keep that in mind. Heat is the silent killer for all weather-related phenomena. So just watch out for that. And temperatures tomorrow getting up to about 90 degrees, maybe a little bit more in our western counties, a little bit less in our eastern counties. And we also have the chance for an isolated thunderstorm possible late on Thursday as well. So we've got a nice upper level flow, but if you can see, there's a little bit of a divot, that's a trough, and that kind of brings some rain into the forecast. So we've got that moving in. A few showers possible, an isolated thunderstorm possible. So we'll go ahead and take a closer look at that in the future track. And like I said, it's just going to be one isolated storm, forms, moves in, this is about 11 p.m., moves into our northwestern counties, Yates Center, Parsons, but as it makes it into the Joplin Metro, it dissipates and it's basically done by 1 a.m. Then we've got another chance Friday night of another storm moving into Yates Center, Parsons, and then off to our northeastern counties. Still not going to be strong, isolated, and after that we're looking pretty good. So that'll be late Friday night into early Saturday morning. We still have a couple more chances of those. It is summertime, so it's really just those one storms that pop up in the evening time. That's what we're going to really start to see in the next couple of weeks. And not to mention those temperatures in the 90s. Saturday is going to be our warmest day so far in the next week. We've got temperatures up to about 94. And like I said, those western and southwestern counties getting a little bit warmer, so probably mid 90s, and eastern counties a little bit cooler, a little low 90s. But with our lows only dropping down to the lower 70s, we really don't have a lot of a chance to cool off significantly. So it's going to stay pretty warm, not to mention humid, especially with those late evening thunderstorms. Going to be a little bit muggy out there sometimes some of these days, but we do stay within that low to mid 90s range for at least the next couple of weeks before we really start to warm up and see some heat-related issues in our area.
Yeah, what do you do? It's summer in the 4 states. You have to deal with it.
That's exactly it.
Lindsay, thanks. Hey, Commerce Days is underway in Commerce, Oklahoma, and we have a live look for you right here. You can head to Commerce High School to enjoy some food, arts, and crafts, vendors, and games. The carnival is going to kick off at 6 tonight, and at 7, the Full Throttle Band starts its live concert. And that's just today's lineup. The festival continues through Saturday. Might want to check it out. Some costs are down while others are still rising. Coming up, we're going to break down the numbers from the latest inflation report.
Size does matter.
Topping today's Consumer Watch, the Port of Baltimore is fully open to shipping traffic following the collapse of the Francis Scott Key Bridge nearly 3 months ago. The reopening followed 11 weeks of work to remove steel pieces of the bridge and debris that collapsed into the channel back in March. The accident led to the deaths of 6 workers and forced shipping companies to reroute their cargo to other ports, impacting Maryland's economy.
By moving united and by being Maryland tough and Baltimore strong. Vessel traffic is fully reopened to the Port of Baltimore, and our brothers and sisters from ILA, today they are back on the job.
Officials say rebuilding the Key Bridge could take years and cost billions of dollars. The Biden administration says it remains committed to getting the federal government to cover the costs. The Federal Reserve announces its latest decision on interest rates as the government releases new data on inflation. Danya Bacchus has a look inside the numbers.
Some good news at the grocery store. Prices didn't go down, but they did remain steady from April to May. And drivers are getting a break at the pump. AAA says the national average is down about 16 cents a gallon in the last month. Overall, inflation eased to 3.3% in May, down from 3.4% in April.
I think this report is encouraging. We're moving in the right direction. But, at the end of the day, prices are still pretty high. I think that's what's weighing on consumers still.
That includes housing costs. Rent prices shot up nearly 5.5% in the last year. And borrowing money to buy a home remains expensive. 3 years ago, mortgage rates were under 3%. They are now at nearly 7%.
Good afternoon.
A significant drop isn't expected anytime soon. The Federal Reserve decided to once again keep interest rates the same in an attempt to ease rising prices. And the board now says it only plans 1 rate cut sometime this year. Previously, the Fed had considered 3 cuts.
We know that reducing policy restraint too soon or too much could result in a reversal of the progress that we've seen on inflation.
Fed Chairman Jerome Powell says the board wants inflation down to just 2%. CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger.
Until the Fed is convinced that there is a long-term trend that is in place, I don't think they're going to be ready to cut rates anytime soon.
Some analysts are predicting a rate cut in September, but others believe it might not happen until the end of the year. Danya Bacchus, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Our picks of the litter up next. Next on the CBS Evening News, even with rising homeowners insurance rates, we're going to have some ways you can save some money. Then on KOAM News at 6, a Jasper County 5-year-old boy is hit and killed by a semi. Plus, we're going to have more on the needs of a Joplin-based soup kitchen. And we're going to meet a college freshman from Parsons, Kansas, who overcame the odds to continue his football career. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. Now, we don't have a question for our pet vet on call today, but we do still have our picks of the litter for the week. From the Joplin Humane Society, we have Silver Mist, a female hound mix puppy, a beauty. And from the Southeast Kansas Humane Society, we've chosen this 1-year-old female short-hair cat. Her name is French Dip. The shelter says she's great with people and other cats, and who doesn't love a French Dip? If you're looking for a pet, why not at least check out your local Humane Society? They always have a lot of great pets to choose among.
Well, that's where I got both of my animals. They're the best. I got them as rescues.
The best dog I ever had was a rescue,
yeah,
for sure.
They really are.
Good night, I guess, to take the pets out for a walk tonight, huh?
Yeah, it is. It hasn't been good daytime hours to take them for a walk because it is hot out there. Temperatures continue to rise into the mid-90s by the weekend. Got a couple chances of some isolated storms passing through Thursday night, Friday night into Saturday morning, and again next Sunday, but not long-lived and certainly not severe. So
that's good to hear.
Yep.
Thanks for joining us. The CBS Evening News is next, and of course, we're going to be right back here for KOAM News at 6. See you then. Now let's make it a great evening.